My fiancée announced, "Put me on your house deed before the wedding? It proves you're serious." I chuckled and shook my head. She screamed, "Do it or I'm done." I said, "Done works for me." I walked away and left her, holding the planner's cancellation invoice and her own broken plan. I, 34, male, was sitting in my own living room when my fiancée, Melissa, 31, handed me what she called our future. It was a real estate document with her name typed next to mine on the property deed. The wedding was 6 weeks away. I'd owned this house for 8 years, bought it with my own money, paid off every cent 3 years ago. Melissa had moved in 10 months earlier, paying nothing toward the mortgage that no longer existed, splitting utilities when she remembered. "What is this?" I asked, even though I could read it perfectly. "It's us," she said, smiling. "Joint ownership. Proves you're serious about forever." I set the paper down on the coffee table. "Melissa, this house is mine. I bought it before we even met." Her smile didn't move. "Exactly. And now we're getting married, so it should be ours." "That's not how this works." "It's how commitment works, Russell. My friend Helen's fiancé added her to his condo deed before their wedding. It's what people do when they're serious." I knew Helen. Her fiancé was 22, owned a condo his parents bought him, and had the financial literacy of a parking meter. "That's Helen's situation. This is ours." Her face shifted. The smile vanished. "So you're saying you don't trust me?" "I'm saying this house has nothing to do with our marriage." She stood up fast, arms crossed. "Everything we have should be shared. That's what marriage means." "Marriage means a lot of things. Signing over half my house before we're even married isn't one of them. Other men do this for their wives. I'm not other men." She stared at me like I'd just announced I was moving to Mars. Then she tried the softer approach, sitting back down, putting her hand on my knee. "Baby, I'm not trying to take anything from you. I just want to feel secure, like we're building something together." "We are building something. It's called a marriage." "But what if something happens to you? Where would I be?" "You'd be my wife. There are legal protections for that." "Not enough." Her hand left my knee. "I need to know I'm not going to end up with nothing." "Nothing? You'd inherit everything as my spouse." "Russell, just do this one thing. For me. For us." I looked at her carefully. This woman I'd been with for 2 years, engaged to for 8 months. The woman who'd picked out a $40,000 wedding package while contributing $4,000. The woman who drove the car I'd co-signed for, wore the ring I'd saved for, and now wanted legal ownership of the home I'd bled for. "No," I said quietly. Her face went red. "No? Just no? Just no. You're being selfish. I'm being smart. Do it or I'm done." I looked at her, really looked, saw the calculation. In her eyes, the threat barely hidden behind the emotion. I'd seen this script before. Pressure, ultimatum, manipulation disguised as hurt feelings. "Done works for me," I said. The room went silent. Update 1. Melissa didn't believe me at first. She stood there, mouth open, waiting for me to backtrack. When I didn't, she tried anger. "You're seriously going to throw away 2 years over a piece of paper? You're seriously going to throw away 2 years over a house you didn't buy? It's not about the house. It's about trust. Then trust that I'll take care of you without signing over my assets." She grabbed her purse. "I'm leaving. I'm going to Teresa's, and I'm not coming back until you fix this." "Take your time." She slammed the door hard enough to rattle the frame. I sat there for exactly 90 seconds. Then I called my lawyer. Not my real estate lawyer, my buddy Edward, who specialized in family law. "Edward, hypothetical. If I'm engaged and my fiancé wants on the deed to my house before the wedding, what am I looking at legally?" Long pause. "You're not seriously considering this?" "No, but she is." "Russell, if you add her now and marry her later, you're creating a mess. If you divorce, she could claim she's entitled to half the equity growth during the marriage, plus her ownership share. You'd be giving away your house twice." "That's what I thought. Please tell me you said no." "I said done." "Done?" She gave me an ultimatum. Add her to the deed or she's done. I chose done. Edward laughed. Actually laughed. "Best decision you'll make this year. But document everything. If she's this calculated about the house, she's calculated about other things too. He was right. That night, I started looking through paperwork. The wedding planner contract? Melissa's name only. She'd told me we'd both sign later, but later never came. The venue deposit? Her credit card, which I'd been paying off monthly without question? The catering contract? Her signature dated 3 weeks ago, with a note at the bottom. Final payment due 30 days before event or cancellation fee applies. The cancellation fee was $18,000. I took photos of everything. Update 2. Melissa came back 3 days later. Not apologetic, not compromising. She walked in with Teresa and another friend, Jacqueline, like she'd brought reinforcements. Russell, we need to talk, Teresa started. This is between me and Melissa. She's my friend and she's hurting. She gave me an ultimatum. I accepted her terms. Jacqueline jumped in. You're punishing her for wanting security. I'm declining to give her my house before we're married. That's not punishment. That's sanity. Melissa finally spoke. I'm willing to compromise. Okay, put me on the deed now, and we'll sign a post-nup after the wedding saying the house stays yours in a divorce. I almost admired the audacity. No. Why not? Because post-nups are harder to enforce than prenups, and we'd be creating a legal nightmare for a problem that doesn't exist. The problem is your selfishness. The problem is your entitlement, Teresa gasped. Jacqueline called me a monster. Melissa started crying, the calculated kind where the tears come, but the voice stays steady. I've given you 2 years of my life, and I've given you a rent-free place to live, paid your car note 6 times and funded 90% of a wedding you planned without asking my input. That's what partners do. Exactly. Partners, not tenants angling for equity. Jacqueline got loud. You probably never loved her. I loved the person I thought she was. I'm not sure I know who she actually is. Melissa stood. Fine. The wedding's off. Hope you're happy. I'm getting there. They left in a storm of slammed doors and car engines. I poured a beer and called Edward again. She tried the post-nup angle. Of course she did. What did you say? No. Good man. Now about this wedding. Who signed what? That's the interesting part. Update 3. Turns out Melissa had been very strategic about the wedding contracts. Her name was on everything. The planner, the venue, the caterer, the florist, the photographer. She'd told me we'd transfer it to joint responsibility later, but she locked herself in as the primary party, which meant she was holding every cancellation fee. I found the planner's contract buried in her desk drawer when I was packing her things. She'd left in such a hurry she'd forgotten to take it. The termination clause was clear. Cancel more than 60 days out, lose the deposit. Cancel 30 to 60 days out. Pay 50% of total contract. Cancel less than 30 days out, pay 100%. We were 42 days out. The total contract was $36,000. I'd given her $4,000 toward it. She'd told me her parents were covering the rest. But according to the payment schedule, only $8,000 had been paid. The planner had a balance due of $28,000, and if Melissa canceled now, she'd owe $18,000 immediately. I took more photos. Then I packed the rest of her stuff carefully, labeled every box, and stacked them in the garage. When she came to get them, I handed her the contract. You might need this. She looked at it, then at me. What is this? Your wedding contract, the one in your name, with the cancellation fee you're about to owe. Her face went pale. You're responsible too. Show me where I signed. She couldn't. Melissa, you told me your parents were paying. You told me we'd settle the details later. But you locked yourself into a contract you can't afford, and now you're stuck with it. You knew about this wedding. Knowing about it and being legally obligated are different things. You made sure your name was on everything, probably so you'd have control, but control comes with responsibility. You can't do this to me. I didn't do this. You did. She started crying again, real tears this time. Russell, please. I can't afford $18,000. You couldn't afford $36,000 either, but that didn't stop you from planning it. My parents will hate me. Then maybe you should have been honest with them. Her friend Teresa was sitting in the car, watching through the windshield. Melissa looked back at her, then at me. If you just add me to the deed, we can fix this. We can get married. I'll drop the whole thing. Melissa, you just tried to extort me into saving you from your own bad planning. I'm trying to save us. There is no us. Not anymore. You showed me who you are. She took her boxes in 3 trips. On the last one, she stopped at the door. You'll regret this. I already don't. Update 4. The fallout was immediate and predictable. Melissa posted on social media about how I'd abandoned her before the wedding, left her with debts, refused to commit. Her friends flooded my DMs with accusations. Her mother called me twice, crying about deposits and betrayal, and how could I do this to her daughter? Then Teresa, of all people, sent me a screenshot. It was a group chat. Melissa, Teresa, Jacqueline, and 2 other women I'd met once. The timestamp was from 4 months ago. Melissa, talked to Helen today. She said once you're on the deed, it's way harder for him to kick you out if things go bad, even if you break up before the wedding. Jacqueline, smart. Protect yourself. Melissa, exactly. If I can get on that deed before we're married, I'm set either way. Worst case, we split and I force a sale. Best case, we're married and it's locked down. Teresa, does he know you're planning this? Melissa, he doesn't need to know. It's just security. He'll understand eventually. Teresa's message to me was simple. Thought you should see this. I'm sorry. I forwarded it to Edward. His response, she played herself. If she tries anything legal, this is proof of intent to defraud. I didn't need to do anything with it. Teresa had already sent it to 3 other people. By that evening, half of Melissa's friend group had seen it. Jacqueline stopped responding to her. The others went quiet. Melissa's social media posts started getting comments. Didn't you just try to steal his house? Teresa said you were planning this for months. Maybe he dodged a bullet. She deleted everything and went private. Update 5. 2 weeks later, Melissa's father called me. Gabriel was a reasonable man, a retired contractor who'd always treated me well. His voice was tired. Russell, I need to know what actually happened. I told him everything. The deed demand, the ultimatum, the contracts in her name, the group chat. I sent him screenshots of everything. Long silence, then, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Gabriel. Don't be. I'm the one who should apologize. We raised her to think everything would just work out. We bailed her out too many times, and now she's 31 years old trying to con a good man out of his house. I don't think she saw it as a con. That's worse. She genuinely believed she was entitled to it. He sighed. The wedding debt is hers. We're not covering it. She made this mess. She can fix. Idiot. That's between you and her. Russell, for what it's worth, you made the right call. A man who'd give up his house that easily isn't someone I'd want for my daughter anyway. She needs to learn there are consequences. We talked for another 10 minutes. He apologized 3 more times. I told him I held no grudge. We hung up, and I felt lighter than I had in months. Melissa tried one more time. She showed up at my door on what would have been our wedding day. No entourage, no makeup, wearing sweats and looking exhausted. Can we talk? I let her in. We sat on opposite ends of the couch, the same couch where this had all started. I'm sorry, she said. I was wrong. Okay. I've been thinking about everything, how I approached it, what I was really asking for. And you were right. I was trying to take something that wasn't mine. Why? She looked at her hands. Because I was scared of ending up with nothing. My mom always told me to protect myself, to make sure I had something in my name, and I took it too far. Your mom's advice isn't bad, but you tried to apply it to someone else's assets. I know, and I'm sorry, really sorry. Melissa, even if I believed you, it's too late. You showed me how you think, how you operate. I can't marry someone I don't trust. I understand. She stood. For what it's worth, you're a good man. Better than I deserved. You deserve someone who made you feel secure without you having to scheme for it. She nodded and walked to the door. The planner billed me. I'm on a payment plan. It's going to take me 2 years. I'm sorry about that. I'm not. I earned it. She paused at the threshold. Goodbye, Russell. Goodbye, Melissa. I never saw her again. Final update. It's been 8 months since the almost wedding. Life's been quiet, which is exactly what I needed. I paid off the co-signed car and got my name removed. Changed my locks, not because I thought Melissa would come back, but because it felt symbolic. Closed that chapter completely. Gabriel still texts me occasionally, checking in. Melissa moved to another city, got a job in sales, and from what he tells me, she's doing okay. Not great, but okay. She's still paying off the wedding debt, but she's managing. Edward and I grab beers monthly now. He tells me about the cases he's seen, the assets people fight over, the relationships destroyed by entitlement. My story isn't even the worst one, but it's mine, and I learned from it. I started dating someone new 3 months ago. Her name is Charlotte. She's a civil engineer, makes slightly more than I do, owns her own condo. When I told her this story on our 4th date, she laughed. I'd have said the same thing you did, maybe faster. Yeah? Assets you built before someone enters your life are yours. Marriage is about partnership, not acquisition. I might be in love. We talked about money early. Split everything 50-50. She insists. When I offered to cover dinner one night, she said, I'm an adult with a salary, not a dependent. It was the sexiest thing I'd ever heard. Last week, I ran into Teresa at a coffee shop. She apologized again for not speaking up sooner, for enabling Melissa's behavior. I told her it wasn't her fault. We had a good conversation. She's dating someone new too, someone she describes as financially stable and emotionally mature. I'm happy for her. As for Melissa's group chat, it's become something of a legend in our social circle. Not because I shared it, I didn't, but because Teresa did, and it spread. It's a cautionary tale now. The story people tell when someone starts acting entitled in a relationship. Don't be like Melissa has become a phrase. I don't take pleasure in that, but I do think there's value in the lesson. When you try to claim something that isn't yours, when you turn a relationship into a transaction, you lose everything that mattered in the first place. My house is still mine, all mine. The same house I bought at 26, working double shifts and skipping vacations. The same house I painted myself, fixed myself, and paid off myself. Nobody's name goes on that deed unless I'm absolutely certain they'd never ask for it to be there. And honestly, I'm not sure I'll ever add anyone. Not because I don't trust people, but because I've learned that the right person won't ask. The right person will build something with you, not try to take what you've already built. Charlotte gets it. When we talk about the future, about maybe moving in together someday, she talks about keeping our assets separate. What's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, and what we build together is ours. It's the sanest thing I've ever heard. Sometimes I think about that moment when Melissa handed me the deed paperwork, how certain she was that I'd sign it, how shocked she looked when I didn't, how her entire plan collapsed because she'd built it on the assumption that I was manipulable. I wasn't. I'm not. And that one decision, that simple no, saved me from years of legal battles, financial loss, and emotional manipulation. To anyone reading this who's facing something similar, trust your gut. If someone's trying to claim your assets before you're married, they're not thinking about partnership. They're thinking about security at your expense. Real love doesn't come with a deed transfer. Real commitment doesn't require collateral. Melissa taught me that. She probably didn't mean to, but she did. And for that lesson, expensive as it almost was, I'm grateful. P.S. Gabriel sent me a Christmas card this year. Inside he wrote, "Thanks for not becoming my son-in-law. You dodged a bullet. More importantly, so did we." I'm keeping that card.